Good day, everyone. Mystery has always held a certain allure. There's a unique power in leaving some things unsaid, in allowing people to experience what we bring to the table without immediately handing them a map. The beauty of mystery is that it opens a door for curiosity, drawing others in and engaging them in a way that prepackaged information never could. When we hold back from telling people exactly what we do or who we are, we're offering them an invitation, not a summary, but a chance to explore, to discover, and to reach a conclusion based on experience rather than expectation. In a world so often defined by quick answers and instant impressions, mystery becomes a rare gift. Consider this: when we withhold the full story, we're actually granting others the freedom to see us through a different lens. We give them the opportunity to form an organic connection, one that isn't clouded by preconceived notions or labels. How often do we let someone know we're a lawyer, an artist, a doctor, or a writer, and watch as their reaction shifts based on that one word alone? Without realizing it, we get boxed in, and in turn, the relationship or interaction is often framed within the limits of that label. Holding back even a little can disrupt this pattern. Instead of leading with our titles, we might choose to lead with our presence, with our genuine interest in the other person, with our sense of humor, or with the energy we bring into a room. When we decide not to announce who we are or what we do right away, we're creating space for people to feel our impact and intentions without attaching assumptions to them. They're invited to experience us as a whole person rather than as a role or an achievement. This subtlety encourages a kind of connection that feels refreshing, honest, and human. Mystery isn't about secrecy. It's about letting people approach us with an open mind. When we say less, we're not withholding who we are. Rather, we're allowing others to discover in real time. There's a reason people are drawn to the thrill of mystery novels or suspense films. The intrigue lies in the unknown, in the unfolding process. Just as stories become more engaging when we're gradually let in, so do our interactions. We can be like the most captivating stories, layered and nuanced, allowing others to turn the pages at their own pace. It's not just about others' perceptions, though. Mystery can also be deeply empowering for ourselves. There's a self-assurance that comes from knowing that we don't need to explain every aspect of what we do or who we are to feel validated. It's a reminder that we're more than a job title or a role in someone else's understanding. Holding back a bit reinforces the idea that we carry our own worth, that we don't need immediate validation to believe in ourselves. When we allow that small gap to exist between what people see and what they know, we're also affirming that not every part of us needs to be readily accessible to everyone we meet. By holding on to some mystery, we give ourselves room to breathe and to be. We don't need to perform who we are or what we do. We're allowed to simply show up, knowing that those who truly wish to understand will take the time to do so. This approach can be especially powerful in professional settings. Sometimes we assume that by announcing our credentials or experience upfront, we're doing ourselves a favor. But too often, this preemptive self-promotion can come across as trying too hard. It risks creating an impression of insecurity rather than confidence. A quiet presence, one that doesn't rely on a title or a status update, speaks volumes. It shows that we believe in the work we do and the value we bring, without needing to advertise it. Mystery creates a sense of trust. When we choose not to lay all our cards on the table right away, we're showing confidence in the authenticity of our interactions. We're trusting that others will come to understand our value without us needing to spell it out. And in return, they begin to trust us too. They don't feel pressured or sold to. Instead, they feel invited. This shift can transform the dynamics of relationships, whether personal or professional, into something richer and more meaningful. In essence, mystery is a powerful tool for fostering genuine curiosity. Curiosity fuels engagement, and engagement fosters connection. When people don't know everything about us from the start, they're encouraged to ask questions, to lean in, and to stay engaged in a way that feels natural and rewarding. There's something deeply rewarding about allowing others to explore who we are through discovery rather than through a checklist of facts. It invites people to join us on the journey rather than merely witnessing a predetermined destination. Mystery also builds anticipation. There's an undeniable sense of excitement in not knowing everything right away. In our fast-paced world, this can be a relief, even a luxury. It slows things down, allowing moments to unfold at a pace that feels more genuine and more memorable. When people sense that there's more to us than meets the eye, they're more likely to pay attention, to look closer, to appreciate the details. In a way, we're giving others permission to take a step back from the rush of instant gratification and embrace the beauty of discovery. Choosing not to tell people exactly what we do or who we are up front also invites reflection. It challenges them and perhaps even ourselves to consider what really matters. Who are we beyond what we do for a living? What do we bring into our relationships, our communities, our everyday interactions that isn't defined by a title? It's a way of nudging others to look deeper, to see the nuances and layers that make us human. And in doing so, we begin to foster a sense of connection that isn't transactional but transformational. Embracing mystery in this way isn't about being evasive or hiding our true selves. Rather, it's about allowing our presence to do the talking, about letting our actions and intentions reveal our character over time. There's a quiet confidence in knowing that we don't need to announce every aspect of ourselves right away. Instead, we can trust that who we are will become evident to those who care to see it. In today's world, where digital connections often outnumber in-person encounters, building genuine connections has become something of an art. True, meaningful connections go beyond surface-level interactions. They are built on authenticity, vulnerability, and a shared sense of curiosity. When we stop leading with what we do and start focusing on who we are, we open the door to a deeper kind of relationship, one where people see us for our humanity, not our accomplishments or titles. To forge these types of bonds, we need to let go of the impulse to define ourselves by a job or role and instead be willing to show up as our true, unfiltered selves. Think of a time you met someone new, and instead of listing out their resume, they spoke about their interests, their values, or a recent challenge they faced. Immediately, the conversation probably felt different, more intimate, more real. In that moment, they were inviting you into a genuine connection, a bond that didn't depend on achievements or labels. When we shift our focus from what do I do to who am I, we give others a glimpse into our real lives, allowing them to relate to us on a level that transcends job descriptions and resumes. This approach invites others to do the same, creating an environment of mutual openness and understanding. Genuine connections aren't about impressing others with our accomplishments. They're about finding points of connection, shared interests, and common values. When we stop leading with the need to prove ourselves, we invite others to let down their guard as well. Vulnerability becomes a two-way street, fostering an atmosphere where people feel comfortable being themselves without the pressure of keeping up appearances. For instance, in a professional setting, a genuine connection might look like a conversation about the challenges of balancing work and personal life, rather than a discussion of career milestones. Or in a personal relationship, it might be about sharing fears, dreams, and insecurities rather than listing personal achievements. These moments of transparency create the kind of bonds that withstand time and challenges, as they're built on a foundation of honesty and trust. When we stop focusing on titles and labels, we also open ourselves to more unexpected, often more meaningful connections. How many times have we dismissed or overlooked potential relationships because they didn't fit neatly into our professional or social circles? By moving away from preconceived categories, we can connect with people we might not have otherwise noticed. We start seeing people for who they are, not for the positions they hold or the networks they belong to. This approach helps create relationships that are diverse and enriching, often leading us to perspectives and insights that challenge our assumptions and broaden our worldview. Curiosity is a critical ingredient in building these authentic connections. When we approach others with genuine curiosity, we're saying, I want to know who you are, not just what you do. This curiosity encourages people to share more of their true selves because they sense that our interest is real. Instead of asking, what do you do for work, we might ask, what are you passionate about, or what's a recent experience that's impacted you? These kinds of questions signal that we care about the person's inner life, not just the surface details. They also create a safe space for the other person to let down their guard and speak openly, knowing that they're valued for who they are, not what they bring to the table. Authenticity is another key to forming lasting connections. When we show up as we truly are, we give others permission to do the same. Often we carry around a version of ourselves that we think will be more palatable or impressive to others. But people are remarkably perceptive. They can usually tell when someone isn't being fully authentic. When we're brave enough to be real flaws, quirks, and all, we're offering others an invitation to connect with us on a deeper level. In these moments, we're showing that we trust them enough to let them see our true selves. This trust becomes a powerful foundation for connection as it signals that we're willing to engage in a relationship that's grounded in honesty rather than image. Genuine connections also require active listening. Too often we listen only to respond, waiting for our turn to speak or to insert our own stories. But listening to truly understand someone else is a skill that makes all the difference. When we listen without an agenda, we're showing that we value the other person's thoughts and feelings. We're demonstrating that we care enough to give them our full attention without judgment or interruption. This form of listening fosters a connection based on respect and empathy, as it allows us to understand the person's experiences and perspectives on a deeper level. Over time, this kind of listening builds trust and reinforces the connection as the other person feels genuinely seen and heard. Empathy also plays a huge role in cultivating real connections. When we step into someone else's shoes and see things from their perspective, we're able to relate to them in a more compassionate way. Empathy is what helps us bridge differences, understand motivations, and respond with kindness, even when we might not fully understand their choices. It's the glue that holds connections together, especially during challenging times. Empathy reassures the other person that they're not alone, that someone else is willing to share in their experiences, even if only by listening or offering support. When people sense this kind of compassion, they're more likely to open up and engage in a meaningful relationship. Respect is another cornerstone of building genuine connections. True respect means honoring the other person's individuality and not trying to mold them into our own expectations. It's about accepting people as they are, without judgment or the desire to change them. And respect allows us to celebrate others' differences and learn from them, rather than seeing them as obstacles to connection. When we approach people with a genuine respect for who they are, we're letting them know that we value their uniqueness. This kind of respect helps cultivate a relationship built on equality and appreciation rather than on control or expectation. Lastly, building genuine connections requires patience. Real relationships don't develop overnight. They take time to nurture and grow. Unlike superficial connections, which are often based on convenience or short-term gain, genuine connections require investment. This means taking the time to understand each other's backgrounds, interests, and dreams. It means being willing to stick around even when things get complicated or challenging. Patience allows a relationship to unfold naturally, with each person contributing to a foundation that feels stable and enduring. Over time, this patience fosters a connection that's resilient, one that can weather the highs and lows of life because it's built on a genuine understanding and respect for each other's journey. In a world saturated with constant communication, where everyone seems to be sharing and broadcasting their every move, there's something powerful about letting actions speak louder than words. Actions have a unique ability to convey authenticity and integrity in a way that words alone often cannot. When we choose to show rather than tell, We're relying on a language that transcends surface-level impressions, one that communicates our true intentions and values without the need for excessive explanation. There's a clarity, a simplicity, and an honesty to letting actions speak that resonates deeply with those around us. Consider this: words are often filtered through assumptions, biases, and expectations. When we speak, people interpret what we say based on their own experiences, and as a result, they may not always receive our intended message. But actions have a way of cutting through those filters. They provide undeniable evidence of our character and intentions. When we take consistent action, people can see the values we stand for, the way we treat others, and the priorities we hold dear. Actions are universal. They leave less room for misinterpretation and more room for genuine understanding. Choosing to let our actions speak also signals a kind of confidence. Instead of relying on verbal promises or self-promotion, we're showing that we trust our actions to tell our story. This is particularly impactful in professional environments. While words can easily convey ambition or enthusiasm, it's the follow-through, the actual work that sets us apart. A person who quietly meets deadlines, consistently delivers high-quality work, and approaches tasks with dedication is more likely to earn respect than someone who only talks about their potential. In fact, actions that align with our words create a sense of reliability and trustworthiness that builds over time. Colleagues and leaders come to recognize that when we say something, we mean it because our actions have consistently backed up our words. Letting actions speak louder isn't just about proving ourselves to others, it's also about deepening our own sense of self-respect. When we focus on what we do rather than what we say, we're committing to showing up in an authentic way. We're pushing ourselves to live according to our values and intentions rather than simply talking about them. This form of self-accountability strengthens our character because it reminds us that integrity isn't just about what we say, but about how we live. Each time we choose to act with integrity, we reinforce that sense of inner alignment, building a foundation of self-respect that becomes unshakable over time. In relationships, letting actions speak louder allows us to build deeper trust. Whether with friends, family, or partners, showing up for others consistently and genuinely communicates a sense of care and respect that words alone can't achieve. Take, for example, the difference between telling someone you'll always be there for them and actually showing up when they need you. There's a profound difference between saying, "I'm here for you," and actually being there in moments of hardship or celebration. It's the actions, the gestures, the time spent, the silent support that become the building blocks of trust. Over time, those we care about come to rely on us not just because of what we say, but because of the consistency of our presence. The practice of letting actions speak also fosters humility. When we focus less on talking about what we're going to do and more on quietly doing it, we're allowing ourselves to be grounded in reality rather than perception. It's easy to fall into the trap of talking about our future goals and achievements before they've come to fruition. But when we choose instead to work quietly, we remain humble, recognizing that achievements are earned, not announced. This humility is often noticed and respected by others. It signals that we're more interested in growth and genuine progress than in attention or validation. And as a result, our actions have a greater impact, resonating more deeply with those who see them. When we let actions speak, we're also modeling behavior for others. We become examples of consistency, resilience, and dedication. In many ways, actions serve as a form of unspoken mentorship. For instance, in a workplace or community setting, people look to those who lead by example rather than by words alone. Actions demonstrate our commitment to a standard, a value, or a purpose that words simply can't capture in the same way. Young people, new employees, or peers often look to those who embody the values they aspire to, and actions give them a tangible way to understand what integrity, empathy, or work ethic truly looks like in practice. This kind of influence doesn't rely on persuasion or instruction. It simply invites others to observe and learn from a lived example. Allowing actions to speak for us can also be a powerful way to navigate criticism or misunderstanding. Rather than defending ourselves with words, we can let our actions gradually reveal the truth. And there will always be situations where others misinterpret our intentions, doubt our abilities, or judge our decisions. In these moments, our actions become the clearest form of communication we have. By continuing to show up, to work with dedication, to treat others with respect, we eventually dispel doubts and misunderstandings. Over time, people come to see that our actions consistently align with our values, and this speaks louder than any defense or justification we could offer. In the end, letting actions take the lead simplifies our lives. We no longer feel the need to explain ourselves constantly or prove our worth with words. Instead, we can focus our energy on doing what matters, knowing that our actions will naturally communicate what needs to be understood. This approach is liberating as it frees us from the pressure of managing perceptions and allows us to focus on living authentically. When we rely on actions to convey our intentions, we're embracing a straightforward way of being one that is both empowering and enduring. And through actions, we express our truest selves, our deepest values, and our highest priorities. Whether in professional pursuits, personal relationships, or our individual growth, actions offer a form of communication that is steady, dependable, and resonant. They show others who we are without needing embellishment, and they allow us to live a life rooted in consistency and integrity. As we let our actions speak, we develop a reputation based not on what we say, but on what we consistently do. A reputation that will likely endure far longer than any words alone could manage. Owning your value without explanation is a powerful, often radical act of self-respect and self-confidence. In a world that frequently asks us to prove ourselves, to justify our worth, or to explain why we deserve a seat at the table, standing firm in your value without feeling the need to explain can be both liberating and transformative. It's about recognizing your own inherent worth, your talents, and your contributions without seeking validation or approval from others. This kind of self-assurance doesn't mean you disregard feedback or refuse to acknowledge areas for growth. Instead, it means that you trust your abilities and know that your worth isn't up for debate or negotiation. One of the most powerful aspects of owning your value without explanation is that it starts from within. To truly embody this mindset, you must cultivate an inner sense of worthiness and understand that your value is independent of external approval or recognition. This doesn't happen overnight. It often involves unlearning messages that society, workplaces, or relationships have reinforced over the years. Many of us have internalized the belief that we need to work harder, achieve more, or be better in some way to be worthy of respect or acceptance. When you let go of these expectations, you begin to understand that your value is inherent and doesn't require constant validation. It's a quiet confidence that comes from knowing who you are and what you offer, regardless of how others perceive it. Owning your value means embracing your skills, your knowledge, and your experience without minimizing them or making them smaller to make others feel comfortable. It's common to downplay our strengths or talents in an effort to seem humble or avoid intimidating others, especially in environments where confidence can sometimes be mistaken for arrogance. However, there's a difference between arrogance and self-assuredness. Arrogance implies a superiority over others, while true self-assurance is rooted in an understanding of your unique abilities and contributions without needing to compare yourself to others. When you own your value, you're not asserting that you're better than anyone else, you're simply recognizing and honoring the gifts you bring to the table. This shift from comparison to self-recognition allows you to engage more authentically with less fear and more intention. Owning your value without explanation also involves setting boundaries around your time, energy, and resources. When you understand your worth, you become more selective about where you invest yourself. You realize that not every opportunity, relationship, or demand on your time is deserving of your energy. Instead, you prioritize those spaces and relationships that align with your values, goals, and well-being. This kind of boundary setting is an essential aspect of self-respect. It demonstrates that you value your own time and energy and that you're unwilling to spread yourself thin in an effort to meet everyone else's expectations. Boundaries, in this sense, are not barriers, they're acts of self-care that help you stay grounded in your value, allowing you to show up fully in the areas of your life that matter most. Another aspect of owning your value is knowing when to walk away from situations that don't respect or recognize it. In the workplace, for instance, this might mean moving on from a role where your contributions are constantly overlooked or undervalued. It takes courage to leave behind a job, a project, or even a relationship that doesn't see or appreciate your value. But when you do, you're making a clear statement to yourself and others you are worthy of respect, acknowledgement, and opportunities that honor your strengths. You're willing to make choices that align with your self-worth rather than settling for less. This doesn't mean that every situation will be perfect or that you'll never encounter challenges, but it does mean that you're committed to being in environments that reflect the respect you hold for yourself. There's also a distinct power in simply allowing your actions to speak for themselves. When you own your value without feeling the need to explain or justify, you're choosing to let your work, your behavior, and your contributions demonstrate your worth. This approach often has a stronger impact than any words could, as it shows that you trust in your abilities and have nothing to prove. It's a quiet, confident form of influence that often garners respect from others because they see that you're not seeking validation. You're grounded, and that grounding in your own value creates a kind of magnetism that draws others in and often inspires them to view themselves through the same lens. Owning your value without explanation also means embracing your unique path and understanding that it doesn't have to look like anyone else's. In a world of comparison and conformity, there's pressure to fit into predefined roles, career trajectories, or social norms. But when you accept that your journey, your pace, and your achievements are valuable on their own terms, you're free to pursue what truly matters to you. This freedom allows you to focus on your own growth and progress without getting distracted by what others might expect. It encourages you to create a life that's aligned with your values rather than one that's shaped by external standards or approval. When we own our value without feeling the need to explain, we're also setting an example for others, whether we realize it or not. By standing firm in our worth, we're modeling a kind of confidence and self-respect that can be incredibly empowering for those around us. In a society that often pressures people to justify their choices and achievements, seeing someone who is unapologetic in their self-worth can be inspiring. It's a reminder that we don't have to live up to others' expectations to be valuable. We don't have to fit neatly into boxes or roles that others define for us. We can be fully ourselves, owning our unique talents, flaws, and experiences without apology or explanation. Finally, owning your value without explanation is about trusting the long game. It's about understanding that true impact, respect, and success are often the result of consistent effort and integrity over time. When we focus on proving our worth or explaining ourselves, we're often looking for immediate recognition or approval. But when we let go of the need for instant validation, we create space for more meaningful, lasting success. This approach requires patience and resilience, but it allows us to build something real and enduring. We stop chasing every opportunity for approval and instead focus on doing the work that matters most to us, trusting that the right people, the right opportunities, and the right recognition will come in time. Owning your value in this way isn't just about confidence, it's about self-acceptance. It's about recognizing that you are whole and valuable exactly as you are, without needing to explain, justify, or seek validation. When you embrace this mindset, you free yourself from the burden of proving your worth, allowing yourself to focus fully on living and contributing in a way that feels true and fulfilling. This sense of inner alignment radiates outward, impacting your relationships, your work, and your sense of purpose in ways that are profound and lasting. When you own your value without explanation, you're not just claiming a space for yourself, you're choosing to inhabit it fully, confidently, and unapologetically. In conclusion, owning your value without explanation is a profound and transformative practice that empowers you to navigate life with authenticity and confidence. By embracing your inherent worth, setting healthy boundaries, and allowing your actions to speak for themselves, you create a foundation of self-respect that influences not only how you see yourself, but also how others perceive you. This journey is not just about asserting your place in the world, it's about recognizing that your contributions, skills, and experiences have inherent value regardless of external validation. As you commit to this path, remember that it may take time to fully embrace this mindset. The societal pressures to conform and seek approval can be challenging to navigate. However, as you practice owning your value, you'll find that the confidence and clarity it brings will resonate in all areas of your life. You will inspire those around you to recognize and own their value as well, creating a ripple effect that fosters a culture of authenticity, respect, and empowerment. So I encourage you to take this message to heart. Stand firm in your worth, trust in your abilities, and remember that you do not need to explain or justify who you are. You are enough, just as you are. Own it, live it, and let your presence in the world speak volumes without the need for words. Thank you.